What is up, RPG fans? In this video, I will be ranking all of the Final Fantasy games. Well, sorry, all of the traditional Final Fantasy games for the people who don't like the modern ones. This is basically any of the turn-based Final Fantasies that are actually Final Fantasy games, so not Final Fantasy Legend, but I will cover those in a future Final Fantasy video. Anyway, the point of this video is to be ranking the character casts of all the quote-unquote traditional Final Fantasy games for y'all. So let's get right into this. So I have the spin-offs first because anytime I don't do the spin-offs first, I regret it. So let's start with Final Fantasy X-2. Why not? So we've got YRP, Riku, Yuna, Riku, and Pain. When I say cast of characters, you know, I'm just going to be talking about like all the characters in the game this time around. Yeah, why not? Let's just do that. So the characters of the game. Final Fantasy X-2. I mean, it's got your characters from Final Fantasy X, but you don't really do anything with them. And they're kind of all like weird. It kind of feels like a Hallmark movie version of Final Fantasy X characters. So you know what? I mean, I get that Yuna would change a little bit now that the weight of the world is on her shoulders. And I kind of like that she, you know, ended up being like a singer or whatever. That's fine. But I think the game just plays everything a little too unseriously. Like, I appreciate when Final Fantasy takes itself lightly sometimes. Like, I think Final Fantasy V does it fantastically. But X-2 just goes... There's a line that you have to draw. And X-2 just... It kind of parodies Final Fantasy X with its characters. And it kind of bothers me. So, Final Fantasy... I mean, I like the vibes. I like the fact... I like the girl boss. Like, if it were actually 3 girl bosses, I'd be down for it. But they just are a little too goofy. And Pain takes herself way too seriously in a game that should not be taken too seriously, but needs to be more serious. It's just a mess. I think my favorite part is that Waka and Lulu settled on Besaid. I mean, that part's cool. And also, I mean, I don't know. There's no Tidus, and Tidus definitely is like there's no Tidus or Auron, and that's so damaging for this game. And I mean, Riku always was kind of not really a ground. I mean, she never really had too much interesting, except for, I don't know. She's fun, and her banter with Waka. I mean, she kind of helped. I don't know. She definitely fit in with the cast of 10 really well, but like her and Yuna and Pain, I don't know. I wanted to like this cast, and I thought I liked the idea of 3 girl bosses like going around and doing stuff, but I was really excited to play this game when I first touched it. I liked it for a while, but it just started to bother me. So I would say this is below average, not like awful, but I'm going to put in the D tier. All right, Final Fantasy Tactics A2. I really enjoyed Sid and Adele, but I don't remember seeing a lot. I mean, I remember Luso barely. Adele was kind of cute. Sid was kind of cool. At least I can say that Waka is in FF10 and Yuna, I don't know. This is going in E. I really like Tactics A2, but story, characters, all that stuff, no. Battles, customization, yes. Story and all that stuff, I couldn't really care less. I mean, again, Adele's cute. Kind of had a crush on her when I played this when I was like 7. But, you know, that's irrelevant. Like, this game needed some help. So, yeah. With its characters, it just didn't really do it for me. Final Fantasy Dimensions had an interesting character cast. I mean, Sol was basically Bart's clone. Sarah was basically Lena clone. Let's see. Noct was basically Squall clone or Noctis clone. I mean, not really. But, like, I mean, there were some cool characters. I really liked Dusk. I liked Alba. I liked Noct. I mean, I liked all the characters. I mean, actually, Glaive and Deanna were pretty bad. But, I mean, I think those were their names. But anyway, it's a good... I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but it's pretty good. So, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna move FF10 to C, because at least, I mean, you still have a lot of the good characters from FF10, and there are some worse ones on here than that. Um, but anyway, FF Dimensions, I'm gonna have to throw up in the B tier. I think it's a fun character cast, and with all the different bonus characters, there's some awesome, cool side characters in this game. I mean, like Mask, um, the the dancer lady, Graham, the Dark Knight, the ninja guy. I mean, see, the fact I don't remember their names is not the best, but they were cool. I will give you that. They were cool, and that does matter, them being cool. And I mean, I liked I liked the different Alba and Dusk especially. I really liked those two. I swear there's one other one that I'm forgetting that I liked a lot. Let me look at it. Main characters. FF Dimensions. Octave Dusk. Oh, Aegis. Wait, was it Aegis? No. He was kind of boring. Oh, he never said anything. Wait. Who am I? These two. Okay. The cast is not as good as I remember. I think it must have been Sarah then. I think I liked, yeah, these two and Sarah. But yeah, there were some cool people. I liked this one, Matoya, Gawain, Janai, the Mask. I mean, it was a pretty good character cast. In terms of this, comparing relatively, there are some bad ones that deserve... So I'm going to keep it in B tier for now. Alright, Final Fantasy Dimensions 2, though, is a different story, and I mean that actually in a good way. Final Fantasy Dimensions 2 has an awesome cast. Anyone who tells me otherwise obviously didn't watch all the skits. They were not invested in this game. The cast in this game is awesome. Like, Moro, I mean, the names are weird. Damn, what's that girl's name? It's been a while since I've played this. Wait, let me look. I want to make sure I get all the names right, because I remember everyone's... Oh, Amo. That's why I was... Okay. Yeah, Moro, Amo, Journée, Parai, Mena. Bro, you're forgetting my favorites. The Death Lord. Dude, I love this guy. I honestly love this guy, dude. And then Rieg. This guy is epic. Anyway, I really liked... I mean, and the art style's cool, too. I know some people think it's ugly, but I think it's awesome. Anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say here is I think the character cast in this game is tons of fun. It reminds me of like an earlier Tales game character cast. It doesn't really feel like a Final Fantasy cast, like, in the best way possible. So, I mean, things are going to move around as I go throughout the list. I'm not guaranteeing anything stays in its spot. But for now, which this will likely move down, but I'm going to put Final Fantasy Dimensions 2 in the A tier. I think that with all the skits, I mean, this is one of my favorite parts about the game. I like the character cast a lot. With all the skits, it's just fun. I mean, none of the people are like groundbreaking. Actually, the Death Lord is awesome, and Rieg. But everyone else, I mean, I don't know. They kind of just go along, you know. I mean, Morrow's yet another Bart's clone. But it is cool, and people don't give this game enough credit. I mean, the cast, again, if you watch all those skits, they are pretty fun. They're a very enjoyable cast. They don't really have anything to, except for the Death Lord and Rieg. I mean, I guess Rieg. Anyway, there's cool stuff that happens in this game. I don't want to spoil anything too much, because unlike all the other games on this list, I'm almost positive most people didn't play Final Fantasy Dimensions 2, so I don't want to say too much, except I think the cast is very underrated. Alright, World of Final Fantasy Maxima, y'all, or sorry, just World of Final Fantasy. A lot of people hate the humor of the two main characters in this game. I don't care how stupid it was. I admit the humor in this game is cursed. It's so bad, but I was laughing my butt off playing this game. I don't know why. It's not like it was good, but Lawn was just so unbelievably stupid that I had a blast, and all the different playable characters that from the older games that joined, it was just so fun. made me smile the whole time. I mean, there's a difference between a character cast that makes me like cry, tears of joy and happiness and all the stuff. And then there's also just like Lawn. I mean, I was laughing my butt off at this game. I want to put it in S. Again, these are all going to get shifted down at least one tier probably in a second. But Lawn and Rain and everyone else, okay. And What's Her Face drove me nuts, but eventually it started to grow on me, the weird adding does everywhere. I mean, this game is annoying, so annoying, but in the most charming way. World of Final Fantasy, I don't know. It's so bad, but so good. So annoying, yet so funny. I don't know. World of Final Fantasy's whack. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just grew on me eventually. It was so funny. I thought the character cast was pretty iconic in that game. That's one of my favorite parts about that game, actually. It just, cutscenes are super fun to watch. I mean, again, they drove me nuts, and I was like, what am I playing at the beginning? But eventually it grew on me, so yeah. Tactics Advance, as always, is basically my scapegoat for having something in the F tier. I don't care. I think I don't know. For everything, I'd either rather play A2 or I'd rather play Tactics. And it applies here too. The character cast, same diff. I don't care. I'm sorry. I know somebody's going to see Tactics Advance on my lists one day and be like, yes, he's talking about Tactics Advance, because a lot of people don't. And then they're going to be sad that I put it in F. I'm sorry. I don't really care about that game. I'm sorry. Tactics itself. This one is weird because I don't really care as much about most of the individual characters a lot of people do, but they come together to make a fantastic story that really impresses me. So I'm going to put it in the A tier. I think that Rams is really good. I think that all the people, their betrayals, their different like political stuff. I don't think I like they do kind of feel like pawns in the storyline. I feel like this is definitely a story first game, not a character first game. I typically prefer character first games that focus more on the characters, and that's what influences the story instead of the story influencing the character actions. So that's why I really love Tales games. Stories, because yeah, the stories aren't always incredible, but the characters are like, you feel like you've become friends with the characters. Like, I've not, like, pretty much none of these games on this list are like that. But Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the most egregious ones. I feel like people are very much just influenced by the story, and the characters don't really feel like they're influencing the story as much. I don't know if that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense, but what I'm trying to say, it can't go in like S+ for me because I feel like the characters are too much of pawns of the story, but I still think that they're really good, well done characters across the board and all that jazz. All right, Final Fantasy IV, the After Years is going to go for the one time ever. It is not going to go on the bottom half of the list. It's actually going to shoot right up to S+. I think that Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV, the After Years, for all the problems, I think most of my problems I have with the characters happen in FF4 actually, where like they're faking out deaths and all this garbage. But I think that for the After Years, every edition was awesome. Especially, I really like Ursula. I really like Luca. I really liked Leonora. I could give or take Harley, but like there were some awesome new character additions here that, I mean, it's basically just FF4 with more characters. I mean, Theodore. I mean, are they a lot of them not really changing in any way? I mean, like, Cecil's story's kind of over, so is he really changing in any way? Not really. But it's still the characters you've come to know and love, I feel like, in my opinion. I think it does a good job of keeping the characters in place, you know. I never thought that they felt too different from their original. I wouldn't say they feel exactly the same as they did in FF4, but yeah, I think I'm gonna move FF4 to S, just because by default there's less characters in FF4. And I'm not really talking about the story revolving around the characters as much per se as just the characters themselves. Well, I don't know. I feel like, at least for this one, I guess I'm definitely talking about the story. Never mind. I don't know why I said that. But for FF4 versus FF4 the after years, yes, people went through more change and stuff in FF4. And by default, I mean, some might say, oh, well, that's where they went through the change. That actually FF4 has better characters than FF4 the after years, which I totally get. But for these two games specifically, I'm going to give it the edge to FF4 the after years, just because, one, I want it to actually not be an F tier for once, and two, because it does have more characters and I do like the new additions. So if that makes sense. Anyway, we are finally out of the spin-offs, even though I love some of those spin-offs. I don't know. I have more fun talking about the games that I know everyone's actually played, because I know people are going to comment about them, and actually I get to have a discussion, whatnot. Also, I want to roast FF1 because that's funny. FF1 literally does not have characters. I mean, it's funny how, yeah, it's bad. We're going to put it in E. I mean, Chaos is awesome, but other than that, I mean, ugh. Like, there's not really, I mean, there's a couple characters, but they don't do anything. Sorry, I'm yawning. They don't do anything, bruh. Like, you don't have named characters. You're playing as unnamed characters you name yourself, which is fun and all. I mean, it's fine. The game is still fun, but it does not make for an interesting, like, when you don't have characters that are talking to anybody, there's a reason I always can't get behind Zelda stories, because you're always a silent protagonist. There's nothing that makes Link, like, interesting. This is part of the problem for Final Fantasy 1. You can't have 4 unnamed Heroes of Light and expect me to actually get invested in the characters. I'm sorry. Now, do I still care more than do I still like it more than Tactics Advance just because of Chaos? Yeah, because I'm probably kind of an idiot. But I just don't like Tactics Advance that much. But FF1, okay, nope, that's dumb, bro. There's named characters. That's better. I mean, Chaos can only take me so far. F tier for FF1. For the one time the Tactics Advance won't be in the F tier, we'll put it in FF1. You're welcome. All right. Final Fantasy 2. I really like the cast of characters in this game. Obviously, the dialogue isn't as deep as a lot of games. I don't know, though. I mean, the fact they set up multiple character deaths that I cared about in this game, just over and over again. The fact that I ended up caring that these characters died, like, Joseph's death gets me every single time. Like, I shed at least one tear, bro. Minwoo's death makes me so sad because Ultima's not even that useful. I mean, especially in the NES version, it's hilarious how bad that is. I mean, yeah, there's a fake out death in 2, but it's like 15 billion in 4. I don't know. I'm going to put it in A. I love these characters. Genuinely. Okay. I really like them. I don't love them. They're pixels on a screen. But I really like these characters. I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. That might be wild, but I love FF2, so... Sorry, I really like FF2. Anyway, I'm contradicting myself, and that was kind of a dumb statement. Anyway, FF2, great characters. They're iconic. I mean, but the main characters do kind of suck. I will give it... But I care about the characters in FF2 more than I care about the characters in Tactics, because why I like the characters in Tactics always ends up coming back to the story. Whereas I feel like in Final Fantasy 2, I like Joseph, I like Minwoo, I like Rickard, I like all these characters. Those are my homeboys. Whereas Ramza, okay, I don't know. He's not. I know a lot of people really connect with. Also, oh yeah, that's what happened. I was like, why is FF4 up there? I was like, oh, because after years. Anyway, I really like the character cast in FF2. would I expect anybody to not? I mean, if people get mad at me and say, well, it's not better than Tactics, I will say, sure, fair enough. But again, to me, Tactics just, the characters, it's like, it's an ensemble cast, but in like a weird way. Like, you're just like, the story, like the world is the character in Tactics. And that's part of why I can't really justify putting it higher. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm probably sounding like an idiot here, but yeah, anyway. Final Fantasy 3. This is where I would put it in NES version because there's nobody to care about really. But I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it right here. This has chaos, but if you're counting 3D versions, I like Refia or Refia, however you want to pronounce it. Princess Sarah's pretty funny. She drops a couple banging lines like, men are so obtuse. Okay, that's not really that good, but it was funny. It made me laugh a little bit. Not really, but I like saying it. I got my mom a shirt that said it just to make her laugh. But anyway, the point here is Dash. Dash carries FF3 up above. If it weren't for Dash, it'd be right here. But Dash is my man. I love Dash. So we'll put it in the top of E tier. I don't really care about Dash that much, but he's all right. Okay, Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy V actually has a really good cast. I'm put it right here, I think. Right below 4. I think each individual character is better than I'd say, Lena, I don't know. Lena and Krill aren't as good. I like Krill more than Lena, personally. But Bartz, Galuf / Galoof, and Ferris are really good characters. I think that each of them have, like, twice as much as the FF4 characters. Anyone who says otherwise, I get a little confused. Like, there's so much more lore with Galuf than any of the Final Fantasy IV characters. People kind of overlook that for some reason. But anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say is not that. It's more of the fact FF5 is some underrated characters. I think it's a great cast. Personally, I don't know. I want to say, FF2 is better than FF5, but that's just dumb. Because FF5, I love the characters of FF2, but the characters in FF5 are just way more well-developed. And your main character isn't an idiot that doesn't talk like an FF2. So actually, never mind. FF5, though, just does a really good job of developing the characters. A lot of people just think they're not good because they act a little more goofy than the ones in 4 or 6. And I think that's so weird that, Ferris, Galuf, and Bartz are awesome. Bartz is a little more basic than the other two, but he still gets his due diligence and stuff. So, I don't know. I think Final Fantasy V has a great cast. Will it move down? Probably. Because we've got some banging casts coming up here soon. But, yeah, I think FF5 is a great cast. All right. Final Fantasy VI goes right to the top so far. Lots of great characters. Celeste alone already carries. But, Celeste in the World of Ruin, Celeste at the Opera House. All that jazz. But so many great characters. Terra, she's fine, I guess. Definitely one of the weaker characters in the game. But yeah, her story's great. She's a little boring, a little robotic, but her story, great. Locke, kind of the opposite. His story's boring, kind of, but charismatic character. Sabin, he's cool. Edgar, absolutely bad A. I love Edgar. He's hilarious. Definitely the Rizzler of the town. Then, Shadow's just epic. Cyan has a heartbreaking story. everyone here, what's cool, it's kind of giving Dragon Quest vibes, because every time you go somewhere new, you find a character and they tell you, like, you get their little vignette and then they join your party, but they still have, but then in the World of Ruin, they don't have too much development because you can pick your own characters, but then because the World of Ruin happens, they get a whole nother story. So it's not perfect. It's not the perfect formula, but it's still really good. And they're just iconic. They each have things to contribute to the game. And yeah, I think that Final Fantasy VI, I mean, of the ones so far, it's definitely the best. All right, Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if it was the OG translation or if it's the fact that I just didn't really care for the story in 7. But in the OG 7, it is different in Remake. I haven't played Rebirth yet, but I connected to the characters a lot more in Remake. But in terms of the OG Final Fantasy VII, I mean, I thought Barrett was funny. I thought Cid was funny. I thought Cloud was a little funny. I thought Tifa and Aerith were kind of cute. But, like, I mean, the rest of them drove me crazy. But, like, okay, Vincent's fine. He was cool, I guess. But Yuffie and Red 13 and Kate Sith kind of annoyed me in the original FF7. I don't really know why. But I just didn't really care about them that much. So I'm going to put Final Fantasy VII cast right here. That's probably wild, but for people who haven't played Final Fantasy Dimensions 2, you're probably thinking I'm an idiot, but I don't know. I just don't feel like, I don't know if they were too, I don't know if it's the translation or what, but I didn't really care about the characters that much in 7, which makes me sad. I wanted to. But when Aerith got stabbed with the sword, I didn't care that much. Except I was like, oh, dang it, I can't use Great Gospel anymore. Oh, dang it, she was cute. I liked that she was cute. I mean, she said cute things too, not just... Anyway, the idea, I didn't really connect to these characters that much. And I think that's wild. People are going to think I'm crazy for putting the FF2 characters above, but, I mean, I get more sad when Joseph dies than Aerith. It's just, I just don't think that the OG Final Fantasy VII does any of these characters justice. I just never really clicked with them. Now in Remake, something clicked with me. Like, I really, really liked all the characters. But I've played Final Fantasy VII multiple times, and I just never felt that about the characters. So, call me an idiot, whatever. Everyone's already done that to me before, so it's nothing new, but I just never really clicked with them. Now, Final Fantasy VIII is very bipolar. Though, this is going to get me some hate for real. I want to put Final Fantasy VIII right there. Actually, you know what? No, I'm moving it even higher. I want to put it right here. Some of the characters in this game are just trash. I mean, I'm going to admit it. Although, to be fair, so's Kate Sith, and in my opinion, so's Yuffie. So, I mean, it kind of balances out, honestly. Like, I mean, Selphie and Quistis and Irvine kind of do nothing. Kate Sith and Yuffie kind of do nothing. And honestly, so does Vincent. So, I mean, he's cool, but that's about it. So, we've got those there. So now it's basically down to comparing the other characters in the game. And I think that what makes FF8 so great is just Squall in his own thoughts, Squall and Renoa's slight love story at the end of the game. This game's not really a love story. I don't really know where that came from, because it's a story of Squall finding companionship, kind of. I don't really think that it's not really any love here. I don't know, like good friendship, I guess, but there's not really love until the very end of the game, and even still, it's a little, I don't know. I think that is a little overblown, but it is, I guess it's subtle. Anyway, not every love story needs to be as dramatic as kissing underwater, so that's fair. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, I really like Squall, I really like Laguna, I really like Safer, and I really like Edia. And I got more invested in those 4 characters than I did in any of the characters in the OG FF7. And that's just factual. That's just how I felt. And I mean, Zell made me laugh too. Irvine was kind of hot. Just kidding. I don't know what I'm saying, but like, I mean, I don't know. I just really connect. I mean, Edia and Safer and Squall and Laguna were always just super interesting to follow, in my opinion. And I just got more invested in them than in the FF7 characters. Now, were the FF7 characters more fun? Yeah. But was I more invested in the FF8 characters? Yes. Now, was I still more invested in the Final Fantasy 2 characters? Somehow, yes. But I don't know. I guess my brain is just really weird because apparently I have bad opinions. But you know what? We're all different. But this is genuinely how I felt about each of these games. So that's where we're at. Now, FF7 Remake would probably be on the top so far because they actually try to develop the characters more. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, Final Fantasy 9 and 10, though, smoke all the competition. In my opinion. So, you know what? We're moving everything down. We're moving that down. That down. That down. That down. That down. You get the gist. For these two games. Because these characters are fantastic. We're going to put Final Fantasy 9 right up here. I mean, that's kind of the point of what I did. Final Fantasy 9, I will say Almiron is a complete miss. But everyone says Aiko and Quina are complete misses, and I think that's goofy as sin. I feel like you haven't played the game as recently, although people are going to say that to me about FF7. So, you know, all a matter of opinion, you know. So actually, never mind, scratch what I just said. But I think Almiron's crap. I mean, he looks cool, but he's a pointless character. I mean, am I happy he's in the game because I like his skill set in battle? Yes, so I don't really care that much. But Aiko's hilarious. Quina is hilarious. They're good comic relief characters. But it's really... And Freya is a good, like, cool character to have on the side that has some cool story of her own, right? But this is a story about Zidane, Steiner, Dagger, and Vivi. And it slaps. Those characters... I can watch FF9. I watched FF9 ending. My brother played it. I haven't played Final Fantasy 9 for a couple years, right? I watched that ending, and I was just crying at the end. It's been years. That is how good the character writing in this game is. And I have so many issues with Final Fantasy 9. It is a boring game to play. I don't like playing it, but I love watching people play it. Well, I love watching cutscenes. I don't love watching people play the battles, but the cutscenes in this game, the story, everything about Final Fantasy IX that isn't combat related is magical. And the characters in this game are so well done. And all the side characters, too, are fantastic. Like Blank, Marcus, I mean, Beatrix. We all love Beatrix. Like, don't lie to yourself. Okay, not really. If you don't like Beatrix, that is totally fine. But, like, I mean, there's just so many great side characters. And Final Fantasy IX, I mean, You're Not Alone scene, I mean, all that stuff. I know it's a little dramatic, but, like, the characters are definitely my favorite part of Final Fantasy IX. And they're amazing. But I think that there is still a little bit of a miss in Almiron. And I think the Aiko, or Eiko, I don't know how. Well, in Japanese it'd be Eiko. But, so maybe that's how I'm supposed to pronounce it. I don't know. Anyway, I think that is a bit... She could have had a little bit more. Almiron could have had a lot more. But overall, I mean, even if it were just those four characters, my ranking wouldn't change because of how well they wrote those four characters. The four first characters. So, it's incredible. Final Fantasy IX's writing is amazing. Now, Final Fantasy X creams it. Okay, not really. But Final Fantasy X wins this all. Tidus and Yuna... perfect. Anyone who says the laughing scene isn't an amazing scene, I mean, it's okay if you don't like it. I don't really get it because that scene is amazing. I mean, that's how people act. I don't know if you've ever met the people who I like. Have you never laughed with your friends through something hard? Like, have you never lived before? I mean, no offense, people, but that's kind of how a lot of people end up trying to get through life, by laughing at things that they're struggling with. No? Have you never done that? I don't know, bro. I mean, that's pretty normal to me. Anyway, outside the laughing scene, though, Titus, one of the funniest, most... He's not relatable to everyone, right? But he's just someone that you can... I mean, some people think he's annoying. Fair. But that does make him a bit more human because, frankly, humans are annoying. I know. I'm annoying as frick. I know that. But Titus was probably the main character I related with the most. Whereas my brother Seth, he related with Squall the most. I probably related with Titus the most. Maybe Zidane. Probably Titus, though. I think Titus is the most like me of all the characters. Frankly, on YouTube, I try to act a lot more formal, but as soon as I'm off the mic, I start acting like Titus. I mean, I'm a pretty goofy dude, but Titus, very relatable guy. But outside of him and Yuna, fantastic. I mean, what I've always said, Titus is the protagonist, but Yuna's the hero, so you get that interesting dynamic there. I mean, Orin brings the gravitas to it. He's awesome. Waka has this whole story about like trying to overcome the fact that he's a racist, which is very interesting. Riku's kind of just there going along with the game, and kind of so is Kimari. Kamari, why the heck did I say that? And then to an extent Lulu is too, but it's more about, I mean, sure, they don't have as much plot relevance, but a big part of what makes it super special is that these people have been best friends for a long time. Like Yuna, Kamari, like, I mean, it's just a group of people who are all like close knit, and you feel that. I mean, that's part of why FF9 is so good too. But FF10, I think, does it a little better because I think, even though I'd say Kimari is a little bit of a weak point, Riku's a little bit of a weak point, I don't think Lulu, I mean, she's not the best. I'd say Lulu's about equivalent to Freya. If we are comparing people, I still think Freya's a little better, but if you compare the two like core casts, say, but also, so there maybe I would probably say, I don't know, Zidane, Steiner, Vivi, Dagger, compared to, let's say, Titus, Orin, Yuna, Waka. Here's my thing there, though. I don't really care about Dagger outside of the fact that Zidane cares about her. I think she's kind of boring. So we can throw her out. So let's say Steiner, Vivi, Zidane versus Orin, Yuna, Titus. Let's go. Titus just carries so much. I mean, I love Titus, right? I mean, I like Zidane a lot too, but just, I mean, 10 and 9 are so close. I always have a hard time saying which one I like better. But what it really comes down to, throw playable characters out the window for a second. Villains. Seymour Inject and Sin smoke Kuja, in my opinion. I think Kuja's boring. I mean, Kuja's always probably been bottom 10% FF villain for me. I don't really care about Kuja. I never found him interesting. Seymour, Jekt, Sin, I've always found really interesting. That I know a lot of people would be opposite on that, and that's totally fine. I've always just thought that Kuja just seemed like I don't know. I could never take Kuja that seriously, and then Necron even made it a little worse. But I think that Final Fantasy X slightly edges out over 9 for me. I'd probably say it's like a 5% difference. I will say, I mean, I also did cry at the end of 10 a little bit more than I cried at the end of 9, but those were the only 2 games on this list that I cried at the end of, so I guess that maybe that's part of what quantifies it. I mean, like, but that, yeah, it does, because those are the, it shows that those are characters that are worth really caring about. That's the writing. When years later I can watch the ending cutscenes of 10 and 9 and still get teary-eyed, that shows how well they wrote those characters. And I think that if you wanted to debate, if you wanted to tell me, oh, 9's better than 10, I'd be like, okay, I agree with you. I mean, if you flipped them, I'd probably say, I mean, that's fine. My biggest reason that I mean, Zidane and Tidus are the two of the most relatable protagonists for me. I mean, those are the two that, I mean, I don't know. I'd probably say I am a bit more like Zidane overall, but I don't know. Tidus is just so funny. I mean, that's probably part of it. I just love Final Fantasy X memes. I think I've looked at way too many Final Fantasy X memes. But anyway, I think the entire package of Final Fantasy X has stuck with me so much more than FF9 did. I think that does boost it up a bit. To me, Final Fantasy X is my third favorite FF game. Final Fantasy IX is like 9th or 10th. It's not really my favorite. I get why so many people love it, but I just don't like it as a game. So I think really when it comes down to it, the only reason 10 edges above 9 is in this ranking, because they're so close to, for me, is one, the memes, and two, just that I like 10 better as a game. So if you tell me that you like 9 better and you try to convince me, I'm convinced. Like, I don't care. I don't care. All this I care. Like, this is my definitive stuff. But these two can be switched. I can wake up tomorrow and have a different opinion about this. But yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know that I am going to get in some deep water for my FF7 opinion, but it is what it is. C'est la vie. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. I promise you that I like the FF7 characters in Remake. I don't know if it was a translation or something, but I just never... FF7 never really clicked with me until Remake. So I don't know. Maybe my brain is just stupid. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video. I mean, I grew up with it. I was like 9 when I played it. I still consider that growing up with it, because that was like half my life ago. So anyway, thank you all for watching this video, and have a fantastic day. Peace out, RPG fans.